Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on a hidden economic force that, believe it or not, controls almost every single purchase you make. It's the secret behind why some price changes feel like a huge deal, while others you barely even notice. Let's get into it.
So let's just start with a puzzle that you have definitely felt in your own wallet. Okay, picture this. The price of gas jumps 10%. At the same time, the price of your favorite pizza also goes up 10%. The number is identical, right? But your reaction? Totally different. So, why is that?
I mean, think about it. With the gas, you might complain a bit, but you still fill up the tank. You gotta get to work, you gotta live your life. But with the pizza, that small price hike might be just enough to make you think, you know what, maybe we'll try that other spot. Or just scrap the idea and eat at home. One feels like you have no choice, and the other is all about choice.
Well, this incredibly powerful effect actually has a name, and it's one of the most important ideas in all of economics. It's called price elasticity of demand, and it's the key that unlocks this entire puzzle.
So what is it really? At its heart, the idea is pretty simple. Price elasticity is basically a measurement. It tells us exactly how sensitive we are as consumers to a change in price. It answers the question, hey, if a price goes up or down by a certain amount, by how much will our shopping habits actually change?
You know, the best way to visualize this is to think of demand like a rubber band. For some products, that rubber band is super tight. You can pull on it with a price change, and it barely stretches at all. But for others, it's incredibly stretchy and flexible.
And of course, economists have a way to put a number on that stretchiness. The formula is just the percentage change in how much people want to buy divided by the percentage change in the price. That's it. It spits out a single number that tells us just how stretchy or elastic that product's demand really is.
Okay, so let's actually walk through that whole spectrum of stretchiness. It literally goes from a demand that is completely rigid, like unbreakable, all the way to a demand that is so sensitive, it's practically infinite.
And the economist who first really defined all this, Alfred Marshall, he put it perfectly. He pointed out that our sensitivity to price isn't some fixed thing. It actually changes depending on how high or low the price is to begin with.
So at one extreme, we have what's called perfectly inelastic demand. Here, elasticity is zero. It means no matter what happens to the price, up or down, people buy the exact same amount. The classic example is life-saving medicine. The demand curve is just a straight vertical line. It's totally unbreakable.
Now, a much more common situation is just regular old inelastic demand. Here, the elasticity number is less than 1. This means a pretty big change in price only causes a small change in demand. This is our gasoline example. It also works for things like salt or basic foods. The demand curve here is super steep, but not perfectly vertical.
Right in the dead center of the spectrum, you get unit elastic demand. The elasticity is exactly 1. So a 10% price increase leads to a, you guessed it, exactly a 10% drop in demand. To be honest, this is pretty rare in the real world, but it's that perfect balancing point. Okay, now we're getting to the stretchy side, elastic demand. In this case, the elasticity is greater than 1. This means even a small change in price can cause a huge change in how much people want to buy. This is our pizza. It also applies to things we'd consider luxuries or anything with lots of other options, like a new car.
And at the absolute furthest end, you have perfectly elastic demand. Now, this is more of a theoretical idea where elasticity is infinite. Here, the demand curve is a perfectly flat, horizontal line. It basically means that if a seller raises the price by even 1 penny, demand instantly drops to 0 because buyers have, well, infinite other perfect choices.
So what is it that makes a product land on one part of this spectrum or another? What are the secret ingredients that decide if something is elastic or inelastic? Well, it really boils down to 4 main factors. Is it a necessity or a luxury? How many substitutes are out there? How much of your paycheck does it eat up? And can you put off buying it for a while?
Let's talk about substitutes, because this one is huge. For most of us, gasoline has very few immediate substitutes, which is why its demand is so inelastic. But Coca-Cola? If the price goes up, you can just grab a Pepsi or a store brand or 100 other things. That massive choice makes its demand very elastic.
And this really shows that big split between necessities and luxuries. You can't really wait to buy essential food. You need it. That's inelastic. But a diamond necklace or a brand new car, you can definitely postpone that purchase, or maybe skip it altogether if the price isn't right. That makes its demand super elastic.
Okay, so this has all been a neat economic theory.
But let's bring it into the real world because this concept has a huge impact on everything from giant corporations to your local corner store.
And I'm serious, this is not just some boring thing for economists to debate. For businesses, understanding the elasticity of their products, it's everything. It guides one of the most critical decisions they make. What price should we charge?
And here's why it's so important. If you're a company selling an inelastic good, like salt, you know that you can probably raise the price and people will still buy it. So your sales won't drop much. But if you're a business selling an elastic good, like restaurant meals, you know a price cut might actually bring in a flood of new customers, and you could end up making more money overall. It's a total game changer for strategy.
Let's just put some real numbers on this. Say the price of a bag of peanuts goes up by 5%, and because of that, people buy 8% fewer bags. Okay, you just divide that 8% change in demand by the 5% change in price, and you get 1.6. Since that number is bigger than 1, you know instantly that the demand for those peanuts is elastic.
So I'll leave you with this question to think about. Now that you know the secret of elasticity, what's the one thing in your life, the one product or service that you would keep buying no matter how high the price went? Whatever your answer is, that's your personal inelastic good. And figuring that out tells you a whole lot about what you really truly value.